What's up, y'all? Justin here. You just saw my demo with the Peavey 5152. And before we get into the next portion, I just want to tell you a couple things about the amp. So I bought this amp on a subtropical island in Japan, and it's a corrosive environment, so I've done my best to get in and pretty much clean the pots with a deoxit type cleaner, minimize some of the scratchiness when I'm turning some of the knobs and everything, but I can't guarantee that it's going to be perfect. And it also was designed for a Japanese specification, so it is supposed to receive 100 volts, but that's why I have a step-down transformer to ensure it's getting the proper voltage. So the 120 volts in the United States will be stepped down to 100 volts to ensure the amp doesn't blow up. And another thing to note is there's a brand new set of tubes in there. They probably have 5-6 hours on it, nothing too crazy. And as always, I'll be using my Marshall 1960B cab with the vintage 30 from the year 2007. And then on that, I have a SM57 at a 45-degree angle. And I'll also talk more about the mod later on in the video and what I did to this thing. Armed and dangerous. Alright, here we go. So we're going to start this thing without the boost pedal on, in the settings that I recorded the demo with. Now I'll throw the boost on, which is what I used in the demo, along with the noise gate. Alright, boost. Messing with the EQ now. There's that scratchiness I was mentioning earlier. I would never play this amp with the mids turned up this loud. It probably sit well in the mix, but I just hate the way that it sounds in person. I gotta have that nice balance. So, put it back down to 2, where I liked it. I'll start playing with the high now. Now the high, what I've noticed with this is it kind of affects the upper mid frequencies as well. It's not just like a high as in like your treble type of sound. So. Note, back to 4-ish. Let's turn it all the way down, see how it sounds. Sounds muffled, like someone's playing it next door. Let's mess with the low. lot. Alright, let's mess with the resonance. Quite a bit too much for my taste. Now we'll check out the presence, which on these amps we kind of know that they don't really do anything till like 7 and 8, but we'll still go through it. So one thing I love about this amp is the power section. I do love the resonance and the presence portion of it, because it feels, I don't know if it's because it's 120 watts and it's so big, but especially putting different preamps through the power amp of this gives me great results. I like the idea of the guitar tone being in a mix pretty tight, but it has like this depth around it, kind of like how a snare would be mixed to be mixed pretty poppy and punchy usually in the metal mix, but it's also going to have a room and a reverb around it to kind of fill everything else up. And I feel like that's what this amp does well with the power amp section. Now we're going to move on over to the rhythm channel. Oh, I guess I should touch the gain. Much like its older brother, it's got plenty of gain on top. If you crank it up all the way, I don't think it's even necessary to use it up at like 8. God. Now we'll check out the rhythm channel. So I never really play on this channel. I like how clean it is compared to the lean channel, but I don't like, I feel like it doesn't have enough edge to it. It's kind of just like this really clean distortion, but buttery nonetheless. Don't like that there. Mid, highs. Very interesting. It's almost like the presence on the master section. It doesn't really do anything till about 7 or 8. Which I just found that out because I haven't played on this channel enough to figure that out. This is with the bright switch engaged, by the way, if you can't tell. I would never use this in a mix with this configuration. It sounds a little too dull. I don't think it would cut through very well. Let's keep the bright in, and gain's pretty high itself. We also have a master section here too with the presence and the resonance. what it sounds like in the microphone, but right here it sounds kind of subtle what the resonance is doing. So I'll leave it just like that. Or I'll take it down a little bit. Alright, and let's throw the boost on and the noise gate. I love the way that sounds. The Peavey sound, where you just have this really, I can't even describe it, the tubey, it must be the tubey warm sound, but where each note sounds different. It's almost like it's being bent or pitched in a certain way, like the amp is giving it some kind of crazy tonal characteristic that I really love on riffs like that. Right there on that riff, if you couldn't tell, the one that I just replayed is where I'm talking about that characteristic that it has. Alright, for the last portion of this, I'm not going to mess around with the rhythm channel any longer. We're just going to plug in the LTD and do some drop B for any of the drop fans out there. Sounds pretty good. Alright, now I'll go ahead and talk about the mod that I did to this amp. So a while back when I was playing this amp, there was just something about it that I didn't really like, and I was thinking of selling it. And in the midst of doing that, I found out that there was a lot of mods available for the amp. And one that I stumbled upon was modding the lead channel to make it sound like the Peavey 5150 block letter. And one of my main gripes with the amp was that I felt like there was too much of a low cut going into the amp, and I prefer the block letter because it's thicker and you have more options to use pedals of your choosing, and you just have more tone shaping options going on the way in. And I think that's why some people with the 5152 or the 6505 Plus or 6505 whichever variation you're using of it, a lot of people seem to say that it sounds tighter, and that's cool, but I'm never going to be a plug and play type of guy. Like, I always have to have a pedal or some type of boost on the way in, and modding this to sound more like the 5150 or to be almost exactly like the 5150 was a big help to me. I also can't remember the name off the top of my head right now of who posted these mods. They weren't mine. All I did was swap the caps and resistors, but I'll make sure to link them in the description below. It also, I only modded the lead channel. I didn't do anything with like the power amp section or the effects loop or anything like that, just the lead channel. And I do believe I missed out on, it was either a capacitor or resistor. I think the only thing that I didn't get to affect was the lead channel, but I'm pretty sure the mids, the bass, the drive, and the lows were all affected by the mod that I did. I believe it was like four simple swaps that got it back to its original specifications. As soon as I plugged it in, I definitely liked it a lot better. I wish I had like a video that I could show you all what it sounded like before, maybe with direct audio and with a microphone, but I don't have that. but luckily you could probably compare this video to someone else who's using a similar setup and be able to hear. And there's also lots of Peavey 5152 versus the 5150 videos online on YouTube that you can watch to get your comparison. So yeah, overall I liked what it did to the amp, and I think it's a solid mod if you want to do it. I don't recommend doing it yourself. I recommend you take it to a professional if you're not an electrician yourself, or you're not handy with soldering or swapping components. These things are pretty serious. They can injure you, they can kill you if you touch the wrong things inside of them. So be wary and cautious. Take it to a professional. That's gonna be all for me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will be back next week. Thank you.